Well, we've discussed about cannabis licensing in New York City. We've discussed that basically it has been an utter disaster in New York State. Uh, there's been major issues, including well over 1,500 unlicensed dispensaries throughout the city of New York in all boroughs and including in upstate New York as well. And the thing is that people had said this will never drive the illegal trade underground. And if you've seen one of my other videos, if you haven't seen it yet, we have a video out that's coming out that discusses that a lot of the weed that's being grown in the U.S., which probably a lot of it's from our Chinese growers here in the U.S. directly, is being shipped out of the United States straight to other countries, including the country of Thailand. Do check that video out, please. It's it's an amazing article read on that. But I had said in another video, I think it was in a video, or was it Fast Five? I think it was, that basically New York has been focusing their licensings, approving licensings to felons, to people with criminal records and criminal backgrounds, which I said that's not the right way to handle out licenses. You would not do that to a cigarette licensing or an alcohol licensing as well, or even a gun licensing either. But, New York State, in its great wisdom and the governorship and the mayorship that we have here, they think that they basically are doing well for the people of the city and state of New York. But before we get into this interesting article out of the New York Post, I just once again want to thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing this video. Hopefully today's the day I have earned your subscription. We're well over 720. We're on our way to 800. We hopefully by the end of June, we will be at 800. We will be a little light the next 2 weeks for the rest of May. And it's corresponding to the Memorial Day holiday that's coming up. But don't worry, we'll have videos out, just not as many as we normally put out. June will be fully back into there. We are also mourning the loss of one of us that basically is our muse to this channel, little Nani. You saw that little clip at the beginning. We do really appreciate those who have sent condolences on our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter. We do really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And once again, thank you for clicking on this video. From the New York Post, advocate oust after exposing that New York favored felons over veterans for pot licenses. Like I said, we've discussed this before, where basically there are veterans who are trying to get cannabis licensing, and basically New York has declined them with no major answer to that. New York's premier cannabis industry trade group removed its veterans advocate after he accused Governor Kathy Hochul administration of discrimination against disabled vets by prioritizing convicted drug felons when awarded licenses to sell marijuana. Carmine Fiore, the former Veterans Committee chairman of the Cannabis Association of New York State, claims the move was payback for his political criticism of the state's legal pot rollout, which has been blasted by many observers as slow and chaotic. This is a direct retaliation for me complaining about the lack of cannabis licensing given to veterans, Fiore said. I wonder how many others haven't been able to get the licensing proper. They didn't like it. The fiery words that got Fiore in hot water with the state bud bosses were made in a recent interview with the Post. The FDNY emergency medical technician who served in the Army from 2008 to 2016 complained that although the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act of 2021 reserved half of all pot sale licenses for groups such as former marijuana convicts, veterans, and women, so far ex-cons and their kins have gotten the lion's share of them. Only criminal applications have been allowed to apply, Fiore told the Post last month. A few days after the Post posted his gripes, the Cannabis Association, the private trade group representing marijuana processors and farmers, suspended his email and access to internal network of the trade group without warning, he said. Fiore said he was told by Cannabis Executive Director Dan Livingston that the brass in the group were displeased with the public airing of his criticism. He also suspected that powerful politicians who backed marijuana legislation law were also upset. This is an effort to silence veterans, Fiore said. Other members of the Veterans Committee wrote letters to the Cannabis Association objecting to Fiore's removal as vet panel's chairman. It's my position that Carmine has drawn valuable attention to veterans' cannabis issues that others were unwilling to or unable to address, committee member William Nogard said in a letter to the group's president, Alan Ganderman and Livingston. He said Fiore's comments to the Post were statements of fact that veterans were being overlooked and passed over in the OCM licensing procedures. And that would be a violation. The article likely embarrassed some of the people. It shed light on certain biases that are in violation of the letter of the law, as per the MRTA, Nogard said. In a May 16 letter to the Vet Committee members, Leah Zuby, the Cannabis Association General Counsel, does not explicitly say why Fiore was bounced as chairman of the vet panels. She said that CANY's mission statement, it requires the group's advocacy to be restorative, sustainable, and inclusive. Hate when they call inclusive. And with a united voice must remain trustable, reliable, and ethical leader in the cannabis industry, which they are not. The carefully and vague word statement saying removing Fiore was an extremely difficult decision to work with stakeholders, including lawmakers and regulators, and maintain the highest legal of ethical standards. Fiore said another Veterans Committee member accused him of sharing privileged information, which he claimed was false. When asked about Fiore's claims, a spokesman for the Office of Cannabis Management said some veterans have gotten licenses to do things such as mobile sales. OCM is committing to ensuring service-disabled veterans are benefiting from New York's cannabis legalization efforts, and a veteran-owned cannabis business may have already opened in New York, an OCM spokesman said. Cannabis industry reps have expressed a frustration of the state's slow and rocky rollout. It's a failure. It's a total failure. Farmers fume they're sitting on marijuana they can't sell because of so few pot shops have opened and worry they may go out of business. Mayor Eric Adams complained an estimate of 1,500 illegal operations took over the New York City market thanks to a weak state law regarding enforcement. Regulators said in a new law approved by Hochul and the legislature as part of a state budget gives them more authority to impose stiffer penalties and close illegal weed operations. Though these industry insiders are skeptical, it'll have much impact on the black market. And that is correct. The thing about it is you're not going to get rid of the illegal market. You're going to shut down 2, 3, 4, 10 more are going to open up on the other side of on the other side of the city. This hasn't stopped. I mean, they shut down the one by City Hall, but they were able to open an illegal one right across the street from the courthouses at City Hall. Think about that for a minute. You had illegal cannabis shop running where the courts, I think the FBI has their one of their offices there. I mean, you around, the police and the authority, they had the balls to open one up there. These politicians don't care about this. They don't. They just want your vote. And anytime they say, well, we'll legalize it, you vote for me, I'll make sure it gets legalized. That's not how things are supposed to be run. See, the thing about it is that they sign off on all these bills and stuff like that, but they don't have a proper rollout. Colorado, California are going through these same situations. It has been for quite some time now. Said a lot of the illegal growing are done by businesses from China. And I'll tell you this, a lot of the stuff that's grown illegally, how long before we know that fentanyl is being sprinkled on them? How many deaths are you going to allow go by you when you realize that basically this was the wrong thing to do? A proper rollout should have been medicinal only and done through pharmaceutical companies that handle drugs to this capacity. Not only that, they're basically not your local CVS, specialty pharmaceuticals that handle the true painkillers and many other drugs that are not really truly out there unless you truly have a note from your doctor, directly from your doctor. And that doctor is certified that he's able to give you this prescription out. Like I said, this is the dangers of marijuana legislation. The legalization on there. There are other states that are doing this. And the thing about it is, we've already seen several medical research papers backed and come out that basically anyone under the age of 25 that's smoking marijuana needs to stop right now at this moment. Because we're seeing mental health issues. And especially in our youth. And a piece of it, depending on who, on the particular person, especially from the male end of the side, not more the feet than the female, it's done by cannabis, smoking cannabis. Because the brain, under 25, your brain is still not developed yet. And putting this into your brain, who knows how much damage that's going to happen. We already have a story coming out. I think it will either before or after the Memorial Day holiday. We have, there's a medical report out that women who are pregnant with children should not be smoking marijuana, that it may cause damage to the fetus itself. So tell me in the comments below your thoughts about this. It's very important. Like I said in another video, this is why the mainstream media wants to get rid of us, because we're giving you guys the voice. We're giving you the stories that basically are important out there, not the continuation of the political propaganda that has been over and over and over like a broken record on the mainstream media out there. This is why guys like myself and Tim Pool, what happened with Crowder recently, getting 5 strikes. These are the things that basically they don't want out there. They don't want us discussing any of these subject matters. We try here on Man with the Show to bring you stories that the mainstream media wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, and that basically, we try to be a bit original on our stories, That's why we take a little extra time to see who's talking about this, so we know when we're discussing this, we can say faithfully that this is stories that are not out in the open. So comment, subscribe, like, share. Thank you for clicking on this video. Have yourself a happy and safe holiday if you're in the U.S. on Memorial Day weekend. Get out, get a little barbecue in there, which that's one great thing to have is you get out and barbecue. It's the beginning of the summer, beginning of the warm weather, even though it's been a little chilly here in New York. So thank you for clicking on this video, and bye-bye now.